If we're looking to the future, if we're looking to machine learning, if we're looking to maybe Gen AI, where do you see its role, or are there any use cases that you've considered or that you're working on, I guess, both for an FX taker and an FX maker? You know, how do you see that as a product manager?
Machine learning in finance is a complicated topic. Machine learning and AI in general give you a lot of possibility, but I think there is a general underusage in our field just because of the regulatory angle. I mean, it's difficult sometimes to push logic that cannot be audited, even if it's thinking in a very good way, into a field that is heavily regulated. As you say, we have started with what you could name as parameter optimization. The way I think about AI is that you, especially in our field, you need to pick up some problem and focus on one specific problem and try to solve it very well with AI. So, for example, one of the difficulties we're having at the moment is a common problem in the industry, is that when you have, for example, an SOR that is taking a decision among 20 venues, of course there is a linear price to pay in performance to have to deal with an increasing number of liquidity pool. Where AI can help is, for example, in try to reduce beforehand the pool of liquidity, for example, from a taking side, in which you need to look into. So in a way, giving informed and trained pre-decision to a then final decision that for the reason that has been facilitated can be 2 times, 3 times faster than if you had looked at it in the traditional linear way. I look at all the liquidity pool providers and I take then a decision among them.
So this is using AI and machine learning effectively for, you mentioned parameter optimization. So this is, how do I set up my execution policies? How do I use machine learning to determine the way that I'm interacting with liquidity? But you're saying it's also for the kind of linear decision-making of which liquidity pools should I interact with in this moment. So looking at things like volatility, looking at the current state of the market, looking at the current state of the book, looking beyond our statistical analysis of hit ratios and market impact, but actually incorporating all of those aspects of the execution into a pre-trade decision to optimize the liquidity that you're interacting with before the point of request, so that you can speed up your interaction and have fewer, I guess, false positives where you're querying the LP and then not executing.
That's correct.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I would expand, sorry, maybe interrupt you. I would expand on that. You say it's not statistical interpretation, but it is in a way. It's just a statistical interpretation of the market, of some parameters you are not aware of. Because at the end of the day, when you train the machine with a number of signals, that in this case are market data and previous execution, you are feeding statistical parameters. It's just, you don't really know if there is one. You're just feeding a mathematical signal that you are not always able to analyze with traditional statistical tools. So AI allows you to do this. It allows you to see patterns that traditional statistical or probabilistic method will not be able to reveal in a specific situation.
One of the challenging aspects of that whole automation side, whether it's just plain pre-trade automation, or whether it's automation incorporating kind of AI and machine learning, is it's actually very difficult from a systems perspective to understand trader intent. And I think trader intent is often the value add that brings the change of execution style on the buy side. What is the trader trying to do? You can have a collection, you can have a statistical analysis of behavior and hit ratios and parameters, but you won't necessarily know that the trader needs to complete something quickly, that maybe there's a specific aspect to the relationship with the LP that they want to maintain over months rather than over specific trades. So certainly something that we try and capture in the parameters is the ability for the trader to express that intent. But certainly the challenge on machine learning is to understand what that intent might be and how it can use that to improve execution. I've certainly seen that be a fear both from the LP side and a question from the buy side.
It's very interesting you mentioned. I mean, from a sell side, if you look at it, intent historically before AI has been always detected by analyzing also here certain KPIs. And this has been quite limited because obviously there are some known KPIs you can look at, but intent has many shape or form, and the human mind is very flexible in demonstrating intent and under different patterns.